For the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
An extract from Sandra Hill's Rough and Ready. Chapter 17. The Best Kind of Wake-Up Call. Torolf awakened in the middle of the night, unsure what had disturbed his sleep. He glanced at the bedside clock. It was 3 a.m. He'd only been asleep for an hour. He got up to go to the bathroom and saw a light under the closed door. He went outside, barefooted, and walked to the edge of the woods where he pissed against a tree.
Nice.
When he came back in and washed his hands at the kitchen sink, he noticed the bathroom door was still closed and the light still on, but no sound of water or other activity. He checked Hilda's bedroom, but her bed hadn't been slept in yet. He tapped lightly on the bathroom door. You in there? You in there, Hildy?" No answer. He opened the door a crack and almost had a heart attack. Or a dick attack.
Hate when I get those mixed up. See your doctor if your dick attack lasts more than 3 hours.
A dick attack. This is continued by Reddit user Utter Pedant.
Okay.
This is a 7-year-old comment. Imagine
Wow,
this.
bloody hell, that's internet archaeology, Aaron.
Here we go. Her long hair, still wet from the shower, had been combed down her back in a wet swathe. Hilda was sitting on the floor, her round, wet boobs still wet from the shower's water. She dried off the water with a towel, which then became wet.
It would.
Hilda gasped when she saw a reflection in her bedroom mirror. Through the slightly open door, she caught a glimpse of the chiselled abs and square jaw of the mysterious stranger who shared her cabin. She stood and spun around, her breasts swinging heavily with the momentum.
Wow.
She grabbed the door
Pendulous.
and flung it open, revealing shirtless Torolf quivering with desire in the hallway. Torolf, by the way, you got a question about?
I had to
Is
ask.
it, who is he?
Yeah.
Don't worry, he's a time-travelling Viking looking for aliens.
Okay, that clears out. It was 50-50 for me.
Torolf was ashamed at being caught, but his shame made him even hotter. Hotter for sex.
I wish we'd known that before we named the podcast. That's a shame. We're inadvertently causing all kinds of freaky Viking time travellers to become hard as a stone.
Hotter for sex. He stepped into the room and his bulging abs accidentally smushed into Hilda's rich chest.
A rich chest.
As Hilda's buttermilk bosom squished up against his granite abs, Torolf almost had a dick aneurysm. The progression of the dick illness is incredible.
Yeah.
Hilda, Torolf murmured thickly, his throbbing meat wand pressing against Hilda's warm thighs. There is a secret I need not tell you. You are my forbidden desire.
Oh, he need not that did anyway.
Yeah. Hilda had been waiting to hear these words, even though he was the mysterious stranger,
Yeah.
sharing her cabin. Her heart was lifted on golden wings and soared toward a radiant sun of perfect joy. She saw herself and Torolf happy together, bathed in the golden light of love.
Does she think this is love? Poor dear.
Her snooch got all warm too.
Oh, come along. That's not on.
Torolf, Hilda moaned, her lush teeth
Can you give her more of a
straining
kind of
with
Scandi
desire. No.
Oh, come on.
I need you. Torolf, coarse abs pulsing softly in the moonlight, stood silently.
Gross.
Hilda looked at him expectantly. Oh, sorry, she added. Torolf, I need you sexually.
Oh, I see.
At hearing those beautiful words, Torolf flexed his rough-hewn abs, and Hilda found herself being guided to her soft bed by the sheer force of Torolf's undulating midsection. She parted her thighs in anticipation, exposing the soft pink petals of her clunge.
Come on. Delete this audio.
Torolf entered her like she was a lottery.
fuck. That's an amazing
Best line.
That's so mental that I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
That's an incredible bit of original thought.
His engorged pecker pushed inside her as she felt fulfilled with sexual fulfillment. Hilda clutched at the bedsheets with lust and ecstasy and her hands. Her spongy love mountains hurled to and fro with each pounding. Her body was like a beautiful flower that was opening and somebody was pushing their dick inside it.
I had a gardener at school who used to eat flowers, and I'm certain
That he was also
that was
fucking.
the next step.
Then Torolf moaned, arched his back and suffered from a burst of dick Parkinson's.
Burst. Oh no.
He pumped in all of his hot, pearlescent sperms as Hilda spasmed with so many orgasms. The two lay still in bed, still shimmering with orgasm. She glowed with contentment like a cat who ate the cream of the crop. She walked across the room and picked up her towel, still wet with shower water. Torolf, she said softly, there's something I have to tell you.
Oh fuck.
But her bed was empty. Torolf was gone, escaped out the bedroom window. In the distance, Hilda heard the fading sound of galloping abs.
Hello and welcome back to That's a Shame's reason for the season 28/19.
We should also just say a more generic welcome back to That's a Shame. It
Yep.
has been a little while.
A little while indeed. Oh,
but at the very least, we kept everyone updated.
yeah, did we? On what? On the Twitter, on the
No.
Discord.
Oh, no.
Weird.
I
We
thought
never
you were
shooed.
covering, though. You
No,
must have thought.
Do you not remember I promoted you to social media manager shortly before my kidneys?
Yeah, but
ailments?
then the thing is that you tended to keep trying to undermine me and devalue
No.
my achievements. So I
Encourage.
just quit.
One
I
of
don't know if I
the
told
good
you.
management styles is one-upping your employees.
Oh,
I suppose.
right.
So when I do a good tweet, I'm hoping that you'll see that as
See
a
that.
bar that you'll
Right.
jump
No,
over.
I just cry.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
I'll be reevaluating that particular strategy. But welcome back. It's traditional for those new to the herd, sure, for reason for the season are Christmas era, like it's in the area of Christmas,
Yeah.
holiday.
We're still within the
spectacular.
12 days of Christmas. It needs to be
Firmly
said.
within it. Yeah, if you've taken your decorations down yet, you're against
Hmm.
Christ. You might as well go to that stable, take the myrrh right off old Wise Man 3 and pour it all over the baby Jesus' newborn scalp.
That's all it's for.
But I wouldn't recommend that.
No.
It's traditional for us to have smut, so if you're wondering what was going on,
We should say
what was that?
that traditional is a strong word because we only did it the once.
That's how
and
you
we
make a
just
tradition,
and we
yeah.
just decided like we could very well
Yeah.
have done something completely different this year, and that would have been just as traditional.
No.
but what we thought is stick to the brand.
Yeah.
You know, stick to a winning formula.
The
There
thing
were
is, there's-
almost no complaints or deaths because of the last reason of the season.
Christmas is a smutty time of year, and it's something that's very subtextual.
But like O'Hannigan's, you know, remaining open for anyone deeply horny after a few days with the fam.
Well, I believe it. I really do. It's a time of year when Netflix, Hallmark, all those guys are releasing these grotesquely smutty fictions about various Christmas princes and journalists who get like caught up in a web of intrigue and end up having to marry the king of Aldovia. And clearly, whilst they're all presented as like, oh, that's wholesome, they're just fucking.
Plus, Mark was telling me that you were getting all hot and heavy over the trailer for Vanessa Hudgens' Prince and the Pauper.
Oh, let me tell you. It's not called The Prince and the Pauper, first of all. It's called The Christmas Switch or something like that.
Yeah, but what
And
I'm
the
saying
concept
is what? That
she's
there's
Lindsay
a princess and a pauper.
And they're both Vanessa Hudgens. It looks so bad. And yet, obviously, I will be watching.
Yeah.
Because she's a queen.
Is
I
she
mean, from the High School
do
Musical
we,
days
do we
to today.
stan Vanessa Hudgens
That's our
here?
official TAS stance, as far as I know. I haven't checked if she's done anything dreadful, but nothing that I've heard of. Bless her.
Yeah.
She was like 30 as well, which makes me feel a bit old.
God, is she?
Yeah, it's mental, isn't
Oh, she's cancelled.
it? Christmas, then, is a time for giving, and also for giving you guys a fuck ton of horniness in terms of the literary text. We've gathered together an array of smut.
Well, we haven't.
Well, I have.
I gave a bit of smut.
You blew your
I
smut
opened,
load
yeah.
too early in the show.
Well, I didn't.
I've luckily got Wadzilla
that
here
implies
to pick up the slack.
that implies that it was an accident rather than a planned event for which
if
you
that's
had a
a line
jingle.
you use frequently. Yeah, it was a
Well, I
planned
just
event.
come.
It's, 10 seconds an hour.
Just because you didn't know the plan. I feel I should say, like, how was your Christmas?
Oh, it was all right, thanks.
Yeah?
I won't be saying any more.
How's the kidneys? Are they still...
Yeah, still there, just about.
Yeah. What
They
about the stones?
Yeah, oh, good. No, they're there as well. I
They're
consider
still
them kind
there.
of part of the ship, part of the crew of the old
Right.
urinary tract these days. Just there for the long haul, by the sounds of it.
Wow.
I've got a nice hospital appointment over there on the 12th or something, so I'll be sure to update people then.
I thought you were looking into your glass to see where it was, but there's a letter behind
Yeah, there
it,
is.
thank goodness.
Yeah, Christmas was nice. It was very warm when we're not in our flat. Very lot of food that you don't have to cook for yourself, and it's all better than I
always
can
good.
make for me.
Have you noticed this? I mean, I don't know how often you ask people how their Christmases were.
Very rarely.
Yeah, but working in a pharmacy, you get asked a lot anyway by people coming in and, ask in return. What I have found is that this year, everyone uniformly fell into one of two categories. There were the people who are asking because their Christmas was terrible.
Oh, yeah.
And they want to tell you that it was terrible. So, and how was your Christmas? They say, like, really cheerily. And you go, yeah, it was all right, like, not too sad. And then out of politeness, you go, and yours? Oh, no.
You look back
Dreadful.
and they're somehow in black and white,
Yeah.
like a close-up.
Oh, dreadful.
Violin.
No, not a good one. Not a good one for me. So-and-so's mother died and then, whatnot. Or I'd say a good 90% of people, and this isn't always the case, this is something I found this year, their response has been the same three words: quiet but nice.
Quiet but
Yeah,
nice.
quiet but
What were
nice.
they expecting?
Nobody had a big Christmas. Nobody seemed to
bonanza.
nobody seemed to have all the family over or be going to, everyone seemed to have Christmas just with their closest this year. It was quiet but nice.
That sounds like the hallmark of a society heading towards the kind of end of its tenure.
What, you don't think it's a hopeful...
Well, it sounds like everyone's breaking down into tiny little enclaves like The Last of Us or something.
Well, we're going to have to be ready for the inevitable food wars. The EpiPen riots, of course, they're literal days away, I think.
That's good news, isn't it? For sure. But yeah, mine was, it was good, thank you. How about you?
Quiet but nice.
Oh, cool. So, we have ahead of us what I will call an array. I've taken a kind of tour this time last year, roughly.
We did a deep dive.
A deep dive to just check up on what Loki and Thor get up to at the holiday season.
Because who knew?
Well-
and then, once you know, it seems obvious, doesn't it?
Yeah, once in hindsight, like, we needn't have looked into it probably in the depth that we did.
No.
But it's good that we did. It's a service that we provide.
Yeah, because, you start and sure, they're fucking.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
It's like,
but you don't
maybe
know
that's
that...
different in God culture.
Yeah, and you don't know that whether or not a couple of pages in, they might just be, I don't know, playing a game of chess or discussing the meaning of life.
Sharing a Christmas ham.
Exactly. But it turned out they were just fucking even more.
Even more, and not just more, but with more vim.
Yeah.
And, dare
Vigour.
I say, vigour. Now, before I read you, I've actually got two pieces. I'm going to skip. One's very short, and the other one, if we read more than, say, 20%, I think it's one of those, like in The Evil Dead, where something so bad
will be
happen.
summoned.
Because obviously no one in the whole world has ever read my second piece before, or indeed found, looked for, dreamt of the horrors it contains. But before all that, I just wanted to share with you the journey that I've been on just now in my room, searching through the fanfic forums, the triple Fs, for festive smut. Let's not beat around the bush.
It's always a fun experience when I know that Isaac's looking for content while we're in the flat. And I nearly said looking for content in the flat. Like you just
digging
looking at the
around.
floor like, come on, there's got to be something.
Anything in this dust? 20 minutes on gravel.
But no, when he's in the flat and looking for content and the doors are all open, because I just sit in the living room doing whatever I'm doing and hear him chuckling away to himself.
I found some some stuff that's chuckle-inducing and some that I think we're going to have to report.
Okay.
Probably on air, just
All right.
just so no authority can say that we
were
didn't deal
complicit.
expediently with what I've discovered.
Accomplices
First point
after the fact.
is a lot of EastEnders Christmas porn. Would you believe?
And is that BBC sanctioned? Do you know?
I can only assume. I mean,
It is well, not our license fee, but it is the license fee going
the
to
proverbial license fee
Is that going
all of us
towards it?
pay. Wink, wink. I don't know, and I didn't look too much into it because the first one, you know, they have fanfic has its own like terminology, its own almost language where it's like M/M slash fic. Like there's all these different terms. The one that was the top for the EastEnders section was called something like A Big Day at the Old Vic. And it was romance / humour / drama. So that's the big three.
Yeah.
I was in straight off the bat. M/F. So it's a hetero
EastEnders, yeah.
EastEnders one shot. That
They're
means
still
like a one-off
capturing
story.
the homophobic realities of Walford, is it?
Yeah, sure. It was
Walford.
Is that
It's
what it's
so
actually
dumb.
called?
Yeah, it's the borough of Walford. It's so poor, isn't
that
it?
does sound preposterously fake.
It's so dumb. Because they must have thought no one would ever know. Like people will think this, but
Spammed
everyone knows.
Yeah, it's very silly. M/F. Male participant was Phil Mitchell,
Obviously, it's a classic.
and the female one was Dot,
Oh,
who is dead in real life, as
Yeah.
far as I know, hundreds of years old.
doesn't our friend of the show know her or like is related to her or
Quite
something?
possibly, and it was out of that sense of duty and decorum that I chose not to read what Dot gets up to in her free time with Phil.
I mean, we it could be even more disrespectful than that. He could be fucking her ghost.
Well, I'm certain that he was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no.
Was there /spooky
It wasn't stated, but heavily implied.
/SN?
Yeah. Another Emmerdale, an even sadder soap. Again, there were 4 separate stories about it by different authors as well. It's not like one person, because you'd get it if there was one guy who watches ITV's Emmerdale, which is a soap about life on a farm.
But it's not.
Is it not anymore?
But no, well, no. But
Emmerdale is
Emmerdale
the titular farm.
Yeah,
But everyone just
it's just a town.
Okay, so it's
Just a town now.
farm-based town life.
Yeah.
Probably not one of the sexier soaps.
No.
Because if you were to rank them, obviously Neighbours is going to be high up. And Emmerdale very low down.
Very, very low down.
Kind of peak practice levels.
Yeah, I can't think of one off the,
The
top of my
Archers,
head.
because you can't see them.
Although
Although Felicity Jones was in it.
Oh,
so it comes all
so
the
it
way
comes
back round.
to being the
The
sexiest of all.
hottest soap. Oh, gets me blood up. 3, I've taken 3 quotes from 3 that I did dare to read, all in different universes, as it were. Actually, no, 2 of them in the same universe, but different characters. Here's one set in the Lord of the Rings universe. You're familiar with
Oh, good.
Tolkien's great big story about rings.
I am.
Merry and Pippin are 2 little hobbit boys, and
Yeah.
you'll never guess
They're
what.
not attracted to each other.
They
I remember
only
that.
are.
Canonically, they don't. No!
They are, yeah. No, they are.
And is this revisionism or is this inspired
I
by...
think it's one of those things that probably if you delve deep enough into the Silmarillion,
Yeah, I was going to say in the Silmarillion,
appendices.
that's it.
then there's one called In Which... ...
You know.
It's very explicit. The line I took from it, it was very long and very trying. You know, Tolkien writes in a very particular,
Boring.
bad way. That you know, he tells a good story, but it's just a very dull way of
Yeah,
expressing
you
it.
have to find it. You have to really look for it.
You have to skip through 84 pages of song
Of just,
in Elven.
of just elf
song.
history.
Just let me test with you whether you think this kind of fits into the
canon I know.
canon, the universe, the style.
The canon I know and am indifferent to.
He looked around. Here's Pippin. He looked around and saw Big Merry standing leaned on one side of the round doorway, wearing nothing but a red Speedo. Just like hobbits definitely have.
What I like about that is that Big Merry obviously is not referring to his height because they are both hobbits.
If there's one thing
We
that
know-
we know about, remember that Sean Connery thought they were called bobbins.
Oh yeah.
Sean Connery, who was offered, if he'd accepted the role of Gandalf, he was offered like 15% of box office or something mental. It would have made him the richest actor
Person
in
in the
history.
world.
Yeah, it would have been the best paid acting job in history. He turned it down because the script was too complicated and he thought they were called bobbins.
He couldn't
bobbins?
quite remember, but in his mind they were called bobbins, and he couldn't work with that.
So
Well, you know
yeah,
what they say about people with big feet?
Yeah.
The bobbins.
horrible Hobbit freaks.
Yeah.
Another Lord of the Rings one. Two other characters who are often, it's like a will they won't they thing.
Yeah.
The Ross and Rachel of the Lord of the Rings universe.
Is the Ents and the Oliphants.
Yes, but I was thinking, I suppose, of the Phoebe and her ice dancer lover who turns out
Right.
not to be gay, which is the analogues Frodo and Sam. Two
Right.
young men in their sexual primes.
Yeah,
Young Hobbit men, sure.
That feels a bit derivative, a bit expected. I was
Yeah.
hoping for something a bit more out there.
Well, I think you'll be pleased with what this author's done because
okay.
it very much bucks the convention. In this story that went on for really a long time, and I did
Frodo
read,
Tops, is that what you're saying?
that's the title. In fact. It went on for a couple of, probably about 4,000 words, which is a decent amount
Longer
to
than
write
most of
about
my
Frodo and
essays.
Sam banging,
Yeah.
or not, as the case may be. The whole thing.
Frodo Bangins.
That's an amazing fanfic title. If someone doesn't use that.
Come on. Guys, I've given you that for free.
So good. This dynamic, I guess the author was in a similar headspace to you, and I'm sorry to say that. I realise that comes across as slander,
Wow.
potentially actionable slander. But they clearly were of the mindset that Frodo and Sam, it's been done. It's a kind of joke meme
Yeah.
that, I can't carry it, Mr. Frodo, but I can carry you. Share the load. All these lines that
Yeah.
Sam always bellows in slow motion suggest a desire on one of their parts. Well, what this author did was he played with the frisson around that will they won't they,
Right.
and turned that into the whole story. There was no banging in it, would you believe?
Wow. Can I just say, I meant to a minute ago on the idea of actionable slander.
Oh, yeah.
A quick update on main antagonist of the show and indeed our lives, Alan Dershowitz,
Oh, go on.
who was being called a paedophile by someone called True Fact Stated on Twitter. Because Alan Dershowitz has had, what he claims, and I'm sure have been many innocent nights, days, evenings, holidays spent with famous not paedophile Jeffrey Epstein.
Billionaire Lolita Express plane paedophile Jeffrey Epstein private
Sorry,
island
yes,
once.
that was the one.
Yes.
There seemed to be some implication from True Fact Stated that Alan Dershowitz had partaken in some
That'd
of
be
the
easy to disprove.
sex with minors. Yeah. And so, as you would, Dershowitz being the lawyer that he is,
Yeah.
says, look, why don't you just come out and say it so that I can sue you for libel? So True Fact Stated said, okay, I'm saying it. You had sex on multiple occasions with underage girls that Jeffrey Epstein gave to you. And Dershowitz hasn't been seen or heard from since, which I'm sure is...
a bold
He's just
new legal
biding his
strategy.
time, yeah.
Yes. God, he's a brilliant legal mind.
I tell you what, it's worth his commentary being still something that we listen to all the time.
Yeah.
Because his take on current events, and especially people related in any way to Epstein and paedophiles, you kind of want his knowledge on that because he
It's
is
an
one.
insider's knowledge, for sure. He's on the other side of that big looking glass.
Tell me about Sam and Frodo.
Basically, the story has that, the classic adolescent love story, like hands touch, eyes meet, sudden silence, sudden heat. Do you know what that is a quote from?
No.
That's from I'm Not That Girl in Wicked. Happy New Year. It's all like, will they, won't they? Are they going to go anywhere? But then towards the end, Frodo makes a move and Sam backs off. He's like, whoa!
Oh, no.
This has been fun, Frodo, but I'm into
girls, lady hobbits, lobbits.
Frodo asks him to clarify their relationship because Sam has been, in his own words, leading you on, Mr. Frodo.
Yeah.
But he's not going to go through with it because he says, Well, I love you the way one loves a much older male employer he went on a perilous quest with. And I love Rosie, my wife, the way you love a wife, who's a woman with a vagina. So Sam really over-explaining.
Sam a turf? Is that what we've come to realise?
Sam over-explaining both his homophobia
and his transphobia.
radical transphobia in one fell swoop.
Samwise Gamgee a turf. Well, that's some people's childhood's ruined.
Sorry about that. And in the vein of childhood's ruined, not only for the listeners, but for, fictional characters do take on a life of their own. In some sense, the people we create in stories live lives separate to that the author prescribed for them. The Narnia books are long held to be bastions of the English canon.
I'm just going to pop in here for the listeners that whilst I'm terribly excited for this, I'm slightly disappointed that we're not getting to hear a Beyblade fan fiction that Isaac said that he stumbled across.
I read a bit of it, but it quickly became so incomprehensible in Beyblade terminology because all this fucking was Beyblade based. They were in a Bay-rena or whatever it's called. It's probably
Bay Stadium, a Baydium.
Is it called a Bay Stadium or something?
Probably, yeah. I think I used to have one.
Yeah, they were Beyblading around, but it was like a ballet.
But they had tits.
No, they're all male. This is the one that I think, is going to concern
Can we just say that
authorities.
The best thing about Beyblade as an idea was its stunning commitment and lack of commitment to the idea of this being spinning tops fighting, because they were literally spinning tops that you had to let go,
let them
and
rip.
they'd smash into each other in this arena.
God, it was
But
hot.
then, every now and then, one of them would just leap up, look down, and blast ice at the other one, and you'd be like, "Well, this isn't a spinning tops."
Could they do that?
Yeah, they had special powers, or they were each had different.
In the Beyblade canon, are the people Beyblades? Is it like Transformers?
No.
Do they just fight with Beyblades like Pokemon?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, and they're sentient or no?
The Beyblades.
Yeah.
They don't.
I guess they
talk
must
or
be if they
communicate,
can
but
jump
in
up
some
and
way,
make battle decisions.
It's really odd because there is a lot of it that is just them smashing together and
Are they
all their
bigger
spinning.
than they were in real life? Because they're pathetic little.
I don't know that they are. No.
I just don't.
But
think
then,
they're so
one of them, a great big tiger, would leap out of it and kick the other one into dust, and you'd be like,
not
"Oh, he wins!"
Oh, Aslan dribbled Tumnus as he rubbed.
The pairing is already an incredible choice.
no, that's
more
not
than
the
pairing.
pairing.
Sorry.
Oh, Aslan is just like saying, "Oh my god," because he's horny as fuck.
Oh right.
Who's he horny for? Any guesses? Oh, Aslan dribbled Tumnus as he rubbed the snow white arms. And then he was spent. Why is it allowed to exist
Isaac,
on the
you've read
internet?
that on our podcast.
I didn't. I'm
Isaac,
spreading the word.
Isaac, we shouldn't be.
People need to
That's
know.
the Dershowitz
this is-
defence. I was just seeing
If
how
anyone-
much of a paedophile Epstein would allow you to be in his
This
house.
is on fanfiction.com, the portal for fanfic. It's all kinds of problems.
Is James McAvoy implicated here?
But he's behind it.
He wrote-
It was written by Macca's 28. This is not smut so much as it is a deep dive.
Into The Simpsons lore and some of the very good characters therein.
I'm thinking Mrs. Krabappel
Whoa,
Yeah.
you're going straight into the deep cuts.
and one of those aliens.
How do they meet? What's the?
What do you mean, how do they meet? They come down every now and then.
Yeah, they don't just wander into secondary schools. This is a script from a deleted Simpsons episode that wasn't aired because it wasn't too family friendly.
Oh, right.
The Simpsons Christam Special is the name of it, published by Woody's Head or Woody Shed. Probably the second one now I think about it. Bart, Lisa, time to open your presents, quote, yells Homer. So he's put the quote around the action, not the dialogue, which will give you a sense of the kind of bold author we have on our hands. Bart and Lisa come running down the stairs with joy in their eyes because they've finally got to open their Christams presents. "This one's for you, Bart," says Homer as he hands a present to Bart. Bart opens the present. "Hey, what the fuck is this shit?" says Bart. "It's a PS2, says Homer. "I wanted a fucking PS triple, you fucking..." We're not saying that word. "Why would I want this piece of shit? It's like 12-year-old, says Bart as he throws the PS triple on the ground in disgust.
I thought it was a PS2.
Yeah, don't worry about that. "I'm sorry, Bart. All I could afford it is," says Homer, suddenly being Yoda. "All you could fucking afford? Are you fucking kidding me? Even Nelson has PS triple and he's povo as shit," says Bart. Bart runs to his room with his PS2 because he was so angry.
I thought it was broken on the floor and it was a PS triple now.
Don't worry about it. As Bart enters his room, he gets a phone call from Milhouse. "What do you get for Christmas, brat?"
Milhouse.
says Milhouse.
Milhouse.
"A fucking PS2, says Bart. "Lol, a PS2. Haha, are you a povo or something that is like 12 years old, says Molhouse. "Whatever, you four-eyed cunt. Anyway, what do you get for Christams, says Bart. "I got a new snapback and a varsity jacket. Now I can be the ultimate swag hag, says Milhouse."
Swag hag.
You
Milhouse
think
the swag hag.
You think Milhouse? Bart then hangs up the phone in jealous. He walks to his MacBook and logs into Facebook. He sees an inbox from Ralph and clicks on it. Ralph.
Season inbox from Ralph.
"Hey Bart, I heard you got a PS2 for Christams. Lol XD," the message says. Bart quickly replies, "Yeah, at least I'm not a cunt like you, you fucking..." Another word we can't say. "Everyone knows you'll grow up to be a... beep the rest of your pathetic life, you miserable little beep. How dare you fuck with me? I'll fucking kill you. You think you can make fun of me just because I got a PS2 for Christams? I will rain a shitstorm of agony upon you. You won't see me coming. You won't hear me coming. You'll only feel the constant pain of 1,000 millenniums unleashed upon you within a micron second. If only you had known the amount of pain that little smart-ass message you sent me was about to give, you might not have fucking sent it. But now it's too late. I will not forgive. I will not stop until you are at the complete mercy of the underworld, you little dick. Ralph, fuck off."
Sorry, is there any fucking in this?
Well, in a way. In a way.
Oh no.
Bart smashes his MacBook and throws it out the window. "How fucking dare Homer get me a PS2 for Christams? I'm going to teach that fat fuck a lesson." Bart goes downstairs and knocks Homer out in one punch. "Think it's okay to butt me a fucking PS2, says Brat.
Butt me.
"I'm sorry, Brat. I'll take you to store and buy you a PS triple right now. Just down hurt me again," says Homer. "No, it's too late for that, you prick," says Bart. Brat begins disassembling the PS2 and then building something out of the components and wires.
No.
Within minutes, Brat created a tin machine. Brat grabs Homer and they both travel through time to the year 1969 to the moon landing. Where are we?" says Homer. "Shut your mouth," says Bart. Bart then grabs the rocket before it launches and instructs Homer to, quote, "bend over." Homer, now understanding what Bart plans to do with the rocket, tries to plead with Brat not to do it, but Brat is having none of that. "Oh, kill me now," says Homer. "This is what you deserve for buying me a fucking PS triple, you fat fuck," says Brat. After about 5 hours, Bart got bored and took Homer and himself back to their own time. Even though Homer's ass was now, we'll skip that, the size of a large rock pool, he wasn't mad with Brat because he'd learnt a valuable lesson. The end.
Oh dear.
So another kind of Christmassy... That one was good because it had Christmas and time travel. And I know they're like favourites of yours.
Not at all contrived time travel either.
No, it was hinted at from the start of the piece, probably.
I think so, yeah.
If you were to go back and check.
Some sort of acrostic sense.
The final one I have for us
Oh,
today...
Christ alive, there's more.
Yeah, the very final one. It's called Bars and Chains. And that doesn't tell you too much about where it's going, but the disclaimical, that's an interesting made-up word.
Interesting.
Does it bring to mind any particular universes, any neurons firing off?
No.
Disclaimical. T.S. Eliot created these kitties. Andrew Lloyd Webber made them sing and dance.
no.
Both would have heart attacks if they knew what I was making the cats do. Written as a Christmas gift fic, it was based off a gorgeous drawing found here at DeviantArt.
No.
Emphasis on deviant in this case. It's relatively long, so I'm going to skip through various bits, but I think we'll give you a few paragraphs of setup, just so you and you at home can get into the vibe.
Right.
You're a fan of cats, first of all, the show, the book.
Stephen Sondheim's Cats.
Oh! This was, McCavity decided, almost like a dance. The creak of the unoiled door hinge might as well have been the first strums of a melody, the first steps of a twisted, perverted pas de deux. He knew humans had a saying, it takes two to tango, and it certainly took two for this particular dance. One definitely willing.
I like that McCavity thinks that he's made that associative leap himself, when that's pretty much the only context in which it's now used.
One definitely willing, the other unwilling in appearance only.
Ah,
So that's important to state up front for the author.
Dear.
And
Right.
oh, how McCavity loved that.
See, this feels like a very tenuous defence for McCavity. Does he have any kind of concrete evidence that it's unwilling in appearance only?
Well,
Or
we'll
is
have to
this-
wait and see.
Or is this a Breitbart-esque, they all want it kind
No,
of?
I think the implication is that there's been something there before and that they've left it with a come back soon.
Right, okay.
There's not a prelude, but there is a follow-up to this story.
Okay.
And a review that references a prior work. So I can only assume that they've had these cats fucking a lot.
All right, okay.
The hidden paw pushed the rusty door open all the way. That's not at all euphemistic. Throwing late afternoon sunlight into the cell. The same pale yellowing light came in through the slats of the bars lining the only window. It was damp in there. Too damp. A little cool. Not cool enough. Though the coolness wasn't about to last.
Oh.
Very unnecessary amount of detail. He'd been fortunate
It was
enough.
cold, not too cold, just about cold enough, but not really cold in any kind of objective sense, more of a subjective cold.
Basically, McCavity's furnishing the house with magic to make it a sort of sex prison for cats.
Is
We'll
that what
skip
you
through-
gleamed, or is that...
That's what I'm summarising in
Okay.
these paragraphs. After that was done, he was only missing one centrepiece, a certain uncanny magic cat he'd seen frolicking in and out of that damn Jellicle junkyard. It hadn't been difficult to find the famed Mistopheles and snatch him away. For all that he was magical and able to slip in and out of the smallest cracks and the darkest shadows, he was still no match for McCavity's magic. Mistopheles' magic was tentative, almost shy. McCavity's was bold and made no excuses. Adding to that the fact that he was easily twice again as big as Slim Mistopheles, McCavity wouldn't be stopped from hauling him back to the lair. Just sort of take a pause.
Hauling and lair are two interesting word choices because they imply a sort of moral reckless abandon.
On the part of McCavity.
Yeah, and
Or the
indeed
author.
the author, and dare I say it, the reader, if done aloud.
At McCavity's approach, he, Mistopheles, stood up slowly, gracefully, a smouldering, defiant look in his eyes, his tail whipping behind him. Miss me? McCavity wanted to ask, to taunt, but no. Oh, he'd done it a few times before, given in to the urge to play with his prey. He was a cat, after all, but any teasing or taunting that went too far only interrupted the rhythm of the dance. And I take the first step, McCavity mused, taking a literal step towards Mistopheles.
If I were,
That's so bad.
if I'd been hauled back to a lair by a cat twice my size, I would already be unnerved.
Yeah.
I'd already assume the worst. But if they said, and I take the first step as they took a literal step, that would be it. That's
push
the
you
end.
over the
That's
edge.
the end of hope.
The next step of the dance, McCavity wrapped a large, hot paw around the smaller cat's hip, squeezing hard, swooping down for a kiss. Mistopheles froze at first, but didn't pull away. The chain around his wrist
Right.
clattered slightly, and he still hung limply towards the ground. I don't know what that means.
I'm just going to say as well that I think that the author was being far too generous, even with the unnerving moniker dubious consent.
Please, Mistopheles whispered, swallowing hard. Please, now. His lips and teeth went to Mistopheles' cat neck. His throat...
Because
Like he's got a
otherwise
spare.
we'd have assumed
Forgotten.
his human neck.
Pinching and sucking and biting, with enough force to break the skin, except not quite enough force
Oh, right,
to
okay.
break the skin. Mistopheles whimpered. How odd that a whimper of pleasure sounded so much like a whimper... ... of pain. That's good, isn't it? Did you like that bit?
Yeah, that's well done.
No, please, take me now. McCavity didn't need to look down. He could smell the Tux's arousal, thick as the air, the scent growing stronger and muskier as he ran his barbed tongue over the swelling, sensitive nip to feel for the other two, extending a claw to give the small nub a hard flick.
Do male cats have nipples?
Sure, I don't know.
Okay.
Who knows? The released cuff gave Mistopheles more freedom of movement. Contentious. As his knees buckled, his hands shot up and ended up twined in the fur of McCavity's shoulders. His eyes were tightly shut, brow drawn into a deep frown, a flush colouring his pale face. A quick glance downward made it very clear. The Tux's erection, that's Mistopheles' tuxedo cap,
Yep.
stood between their bodies, straining for contact. Where do you think it's going?
What do you mean?
Well, what do you think is going to happen?
What way could it go?
They're going to just take a break.
They're just going to go away and do a crossword or something.
Well, it doesn't quite happen as you'd think. Of course they fuck. And
Okay,
for
yeah.
28 paragraphs,
28 paragraphs.
Yes.
They fuck.
including no, McCavity thought smugly. No one knew Mistopheles' body like he did. No one knew that if he wanted
Mistopheles' cat body.
to precipitate the Tux towards orgasm, he need only slide one claw up against its rear and find that sensitive point right above the tail, flicking at that claw to scratch at it. McCavity smirked as he felt the Tux quiver with tension and yank at his cat's fur. Why do they keep specifying that they're cats?
He didn't specify his cat's ass. So why cat's fur?
They draw in great gulps of air. Basically, 28 paragraphs later, it turns out that it was all a metaphor and they were just dancing the whole time.
It's not a metaphor.
It was a big metaphor. The whole thing was like
Your
a
metaphor
dream.
can't be more detailed than the thing that you're
Take
actually
up
describing.
98% of the text.
There's no way that you can very specifically apply the McCavity tickling the other one's asshole
Do you think they make
in
a
just
joke
the
about
way that
McCavities?
makes it come, and then be like, oh, that was just for the two-step.
I hate you, Mistopheles softly said as the other cat positioned himself for the tango. McCavity smirked, squeezing the Tux's thighs as he spread them apart in dance. I know. And that was the end.
Right.
So after all, it was all just a big dance.
No.
And I guess it's about the electricity and sublime sexuality of dance
right. Oh, okay.
in the cat community.
And it was nothing about biting the cat neck and
Or
pulling the
fucking
cat fur.
No, none of that.
It wasn't about Mistopheles' erection between
Well,
them straining for contact.
In a way, isn't everything about?
Was that just about like a ballet pose
I guess so, yeah. I guess so.
just before the tango?
So the phrase reason for the season is thrown around a lot. We sometimes hear it bandied about by the church, sometimes by the consumerist gods that we all worship daily on the high street. But never more appropriately is it deployed than in our annual, as you said, and went to lengths to explain, tradition
Yes.
of Christmas time TAS Smut. Hope you've enjoyed everything you've heard today.
See us in part 2 for the That's a Shame review and preview of the years.
Keep it good.
You fucking filth.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. For the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder, my new home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you.